So hello and welcome, good evening. Thank you everybody for joining tonight's presentation demonstration. I'm so excited to have you with me tonight. So tonight I'm going to be doing a demonstration on spinning alpaca. And the reason for that is because I'm going to be teaching a workshop this coming Friday night, so May 20th from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I wanted to reach out to the people in the Wool and Fiber Arts group because I know that we have some amazing vendors and shepherds and fiber suppliers. And so alpaca is going to be one of the fibers that I talk about and spin on Friday night. And so when I reached out and I said, hey, does anyone have alpaca fiber? These two lovely people reached out to me and said, yes, well, of course we do. And we'd be happy to supply you with some of it. So tonight, one of my special guests is going to be Kathy from Clear Sky Fiberarts that is a part of Clear Sky Alpacas, and my other guest is Alaura from Ironhorse Homestead. So thank you both so much for joining me tonight for this presentation. I do appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
All right, so the first thing that I wanted to kind of get into and talk about while I'm going to spin the fiber, right, is that alpaca is obviously very different from, you know, sheep and any other kind of like fiber like cotton, right? It has its own qualities, characteristics, and properties. And so both of you have, you know, gone to the lengths of actually owning these animals, taking care of these animals. So there must be some quality or property about them that you really love. And so I'm just curious, can you let people know? And so Kathy, if you want to go first and just let us know what is like one thing that, you know, you really love about alpaca?
Well, besides their personality, as far as their fiber goes, I just love the softness, the fineness, and the crimpiness of it.
Okay,
the fiber is wonderful to work with. I'm
gonna start with one of your fibers. So Kathy had sent me 3 different types of her alpaca fibers. So I'm gonna spin 2 of them tonight. So the first one is you sent me alpaca that was pin drafted into roving, and it's white, so it's not blended. But then you also sent me these other ones that are blends too. So there's one that is a 75% alpaca, 25% merino blend, and then the other one is a 58% alpaca, 32% merino, and 10% bamboo. So which one should I spin first?
I'll spin the bamboo one.
Got it. Okay.
The one with the bamboo, yeah.
So tell me, since you suggested that I spin the bamboo first, let me know, what is it about the bamboo one that you like or that you find that people that spin it enjoy?
I just love blending bamboo in with my alpaca because it lends a shine to it. And it just adds just that lusciousness. It's just wonderful to spin. It just adds, you know, I don't know, I just love it. Just love it. So you tell me when you spin it, what you think.
So I'm just trying to get it up to the camera so that people can see, right? So what part is the alpaca and then what part is the blend? Like the red and the gold parts, is that alpaca or is that something else?
The alpaca is going to be the natural color.
Okay.
And then the dyed part is going to be the merino and the bamboo will be the shinier one.
Okay. Ooh, hang on. Let me slow the twist down a little bit. It's like on air conditioner speed. Okay, not good. All right. So is this a blend that you know, you like worked towards creating and putting together, or is it one that like the mill does? Like how do these blends come to be?
Okay, I send the fiber that qualifies. Now we have a herd of 34 alpaca. We were up a lot larger than that, but out of our 34 alpaca, not all of them are chosen to be spinning fiber. So I go through and I assess each fleece, and if it qualifies in my mind to make a beautiful spinning fiber, then because of the number of alpacas we have, I do send my fiber to be processed up to Windy Acre Fiber Mill. And Charlie's another WAFA vendor. And we work together as far as, okay, what do we think we want to put with this? And so it's a lot of going back and forth and kind of picking brains. And my 3 main processes are the 100% alpaca, the alpaca with the merino, and then the alpaca with either just bamboo or with some merino involved. And I found that the spinners that I market to, they just love one of those 3 blends.
Yeah, no, this is definitely luscious, silky, soft stuff. And it's really cool because as I'm spinning it, I'll bring up a little sample to the camera so that people can see. But I love the fact that the colors in it, it's not super thoroughly blended, so that as I'm
Right.
spinning, like little color pops kind of come through, and it's just really pretty. So here, let me stop spinning. But yeah, this is just super easy to draft. It's very soft. Like I would say that the preparation is just easy. Like it's not putting any strain on my wrists or anything like that. Here we go. Okay, so let me go bring this up to the camera. Yeah, this I can see why this is the one that you said for me to try first. So you can see here. I don't know if it's gonna pick up on the Zoom, right? But there's just these little color pops like the red over there. This is just really lovely stuff, and it's so silky. And I'm sure that's part of the bamboo, right? Is that what gives it that silkiness?
Yep. And I just really like it because the way that I have Charlie pin draft it, if you want to pull apart the colors, you can, or if you want to leave the colors together, you can. It's the spinner's choice.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so like if I wanted to see like what's nice about this preparation, and like I said, I know that the window is a little bit smaller because we're coming in through a Zoom as opposed to like a full camera. But what's nice is that you're right, like I can just pull out the red over here or even just split it down the middle, and that this is going to be mostly the alpaca and then this will be the blends. And so by twisting those together, you can see like if I were to spin it, it would get that nice color pop. So this is definitely some luscious stuff over here. So thank you for sending to me. And if you would like to be able to test these out, what I'm also grateful for too, is that both Kathy and Alaura said that they would put together these 1 ounce samplers for spinners that would like to try all of their different types of alpaca and the alpaca blend. And so I think that's great. Like if you've never had a chance to spin alpaca, to be able to test it out is just a great thing. So thank you so much for making that available to people. I do appreciate it. And yeah, this is just some really luscious stuff. Okay. So
and each of ours, each batch that's done at the mill, it's done in small batches so I can keep the animals separate. So the spinner knows which animal it came from. So if they want to have that animal again, they can request it. So each blend is going to be, it might be a little different. So it isn't always going to be the same percentages. The percentages could vary slightly, but you know,
basically if you test it out, or basically the idea is if you're going to get a sample, test the sample out right away as soon as it comes into your mailbox and it's hot and fresh, and then make sure if you like it, you get it while the getting is good. Okay, sounds like a good plan there. Yeah. All right. So I'm curious. So I had asked if my guests could help me out here too. And one of the questions I know that when I was spinning alpaca, and just even from people that are spinning alpaca for the first time, you might notice that alpaca as a fiber tends to do something that's called growing. Now, before I knew about this growing phenomenon that alpaca has, I did a whole sweater of baby alpaca that I hand spun, and I made the yarn very thick and very dense. And so those qualities and properties are going to contribute to the growing that alpaca does. So Alaura, if you could just let us know, what is it about alpaca that makes us, beginner spinners that don't know about it kind of get frustrated when that happens, but also tell me which one should I spin first of yours. So I have this lovely chocolate brown over here, and then I have this gray one. Now the gray one you said has the mohair in it, correct?
Yeah. So for the alpaca, I would spin the chocolate brown.
Okay.
That's Aria's, and I think that's from her second year coat.
Okay.
So it should be pretty soon. Yeah. So alpaca doesn't have the memory that wool has. So it tends to, like you said, grow. The more you wear it, after you block it. From what I understand, because I've looked into it, it's partly because the scales on alpacas it's shorter and they're smoother. So that's another reason why it seems less itchy than wool sometimes. But it does contribute because they're not catching like it is with the wool. So it's best for the drapey things, which is, the workshop for it.
Yeah.
Shawls, it's great for. It is good for like a lot of people like it for lace patterns because it can show off the stitches really well because of how it is. But yeah, that's another reason it's often blended with wool, just to give it a little bit more memory. Because if you try to make something like a sweater or even over time, sometimes a hat, it's going to turn into a sweater dress for you.
Definitely. Yeah. Now this, even like, so, okay. So I just spun the blend, but I have to tell you, between spinning the both of them, not that I really can't tell a difference because they both feel like super soft, super luscious, but like this fiber in me spinning it, it also feels very silky. And so that's really amazing. Now I know there's different types of alpaca. So what kind of alpaca do you have?
I have Huacaya and I have one Suri. He's a rescue from one of the rescues from Southeast Llama Rescue. So we just have the one Suri, but I do love the way Suris look. They look like Muppets to me, and I just think they're really cute. But most of our herd is Huacaya.
And so did you go for the alpaca based on them looking like Muppets first, or was there a different appealing feature to you that made you pick one over the other?
Well, actually, when we went to look at our farm, I reached out to a lady that keeps alpacas, and she's like 9 minutes down the road, and she happened to have Huacaya. So that's kind of how we ended up with Huacaya, because she was a really good mentor and we could talk to her, and she's right down the road if we need any help. So that's where we got our first 4 from. So that's kind of why we ended up with the Huacaya. Nice. I do like how fluffy they look too. So, I mean, they both are very cute animals and both have their pros. So
yeah, now I really don't want to stop spinning this, but in the interest of time, I'm going to stop just to show a plyback sample, because this is like such a luscious fiber to spin. So here, let me bring this up to the camera so people can see. I'll just do a little plyback sample. Hang on. Yeah, so this is really lovely. It's super soft. Okay, there you go. Let me see if I can get this. Oop, wait, I gotta switch to the other camera to see what I'm doing. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so this is just a really lovely, and it's got like a little bit of a halo, if you can see it, right? It's just got like a little bit of a halo to it, but I was spinning it worsted, so trying to compress the air out of it. But this is just a really, really lovely, smooth, silky fiber. Definitely different than wool. It definitely has a different feel to it than when you're spinning, you know, sheep's fiber. Okay, so let me put this back onto the spinner. All right, so I'm curious, Kathy. So like I know that a lot of times people will say, you know, what is the difference between alpaca and sheep, and the difference between the fleece of a sheep, right, and the alpaca fleece. So I'm gonna cover that on Friday. But if you could you humor us and tell us what is the difference, if there is any, or why would alpaca maybe be better than llama fiber, or what are, you know, like what are the difference between those two?
Well, I have to be careful because I have friends that raise llamas too.
Yeah, but you can be biased. Tonight's the night to let the alpaca shine.
Right. Well, and as with the alpacas too, the fleece and the characteristics of the fleece are going to vary from year to year based on stress, nutrition, and the environment. And so you want to try to do the best in all 3 areas. And of course, the environment, you're not going to be able to really do anything about. The difference between, I have found, between the majority of the llamas and the alpacas, the llamas tend to have less crimp, and they are a little bit higher micron. You know, now I've got some llama friends that they've been able to do some breeding, and they've been able to get their microns down to match some of the higher micron alpacas. But for the most part, it's been my opinion that the alpacas more crimp, softer, finer, lower micron.
Now, what about personalities? Do they both spit, or are the llamas the spitters and the alpacas are pretty docile?
Well,
or is it like people that we have some grumpy ones and some nice ones?
Well, they all have their own personalities. Here in our herd, the spitting is usually between the animals over food, or like the males when one gets to go to the barn and the others don't, that type of thing. So yeah, that's at least here on our farm.
Yeah, now
and we have Huacaya here too.
Yeah. Ours
we usually started with both Suri and Huacaya, and we found that the Suris tended to be more high strung, and it's a whole different ballpark in spinning Suri fiber and Huacaya fiber just because of the makeup. So we decided to go with all Huacayas. So that's what we have, the big old teddy bears. But today they're like little Ewoks because we just sheared last week.
That's awesome. I'm always a fan of them after they're sheared, especially their little heads when they're all fluffy. Wait, hang on, let me go back to my camera so I can make sure that we can see this. Yes. Now, what's interesting is that when you look at the fiber and it's got, hang on, there we go, and it's got like the color in it, right? I love how when you spin it, it kind of just all blends together. So it looks more like a heathered solid as opposed to being, more stripy. But I know that there was someone in, I have a group where we spin, dye, and create together. And someone was asking the question about how can you get the colors when you're getting the fiber prepared this way to be a little bit more crisp and distinct. And so one of the ways you can do it, so this is a tip for those of you that would like to control your color more, is to spin from the fold. So have either of you tried spinning alpaca from the fold? Do you like that? Or what's your preferred method for how you hold your fiber?
I haven't spun from the fold much. I usually just, I don't know what it's called, just the regular spinning. Because I do it kind of to relax. So I have it, and I usually we have all the natural colors. I don't have a whole lot of dyed colors. So it hasn't really mattered much as far as spinning from like our own alpaca herd.
But I know when we talked earlier, so not necessarily today, but when we talked previously, you said that you were getting into natural dyeing. So have you tried that with your alpaca yet or not yet?
Just for the yarn. I haven't done it with the roving because I'm scared that I'm going to mess it up. So, or felt it somehow. So I've been a bit of a chicken about that, but I do have a bunch of fiber in the barn now because we just sheared. So I may try it.
Okay, yeah, because someone asked in the group, does alpaca felt? And then it says, how is its durability? So I'm going to answer the durability part in the workshop. But it says, what about properties like worming and pilling when knit? So as far as like the strength of it, right? And that speaks more to like the way that the fiber is prepared. But as far as its ability to felt, would you like to take that one on, Kathy? Do you do any felting?
Yeah. Yep. In fact, I have the mill make felt sheets for me out of 100% alpaca. And then I do crafting out of the felt sheet. I also sell some of my yarns to another Wafa vendor that crochets and knits little animals, and then she felts that. And so it's been my experience that the alpaca felts really nicely.
Okay, so this was the other blend that you had. So this was like the teal one. And so I just want to show people the difference when I was spinning from the fold as far as how the colors look. So let me bring this up to the camera. So you can see that the colors are a lot more distinct in this way. Now, obviously it's going to still be a blend. So hang on, let me go back to, I'm like, there you go. Camera one, camera two lady over here. Okay. But I don't know if you can see that there's more distinction, right, in the colors. So you can see that, right? Like, can you see that part right there is a little bit, bluer? It's not as consistent as it was before. So that's kind of a neat way that if you get top that's dyed in this fashion, or if it's been prepared this way and you want the colors to be as a little bit more distinct, and instead of taking the time and peeling it apart, that's just one way that you can do it. Okay. So let me see here. Let me come back over. All right. So I'm looking to see, okay, so I don't think there are any more questions. All right. In the group. So let's see here. So for both of you, right, because you obviously have the alpacas. So do you have them just to like, raise them because you think they're cute and adorable, or is there something that you really enjoy doing with their fiber? And while you tell me about that, I'm going to switch over now and test out Alaura's. This one is the mohair blend, you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so what percentages of mohair and alpaca is this one?
I believe it's 80% mohair.
Oh, okay. So this is mostly mohair. Okay, cool. So this also feels super, it's amazing how this one feels different than 100% pure alpaca. So you can tell that there's a difference in it, but they both feel super soft. It's almost like one is warmer and squishier and one is like silkier. I don't know, it's interesting, but they both feel super soft. So yeah, I'd love to know, what are your favorite things to do with your alpaca?
Mine just kind of hang out, so I got the alpacas. I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't do any fiber arts when I got the alpaca. Like, I didn't know how to do anything. So I got them, and then I had to kind of learn what to do. So spinning was the first thing I learned, and it's still kind of my favorite thing to do. I do like to weave too. So spinning and weaving would be my two favorites to do with them. Just in general with the fiber arts. I do love spinning with the alpaca just because it's so easy, and it's I guess because I learned with alpaca, it seems really easy to me. And then when I try to spin with wool, it just seems like I'm working a lot harder to draft.
Yeah, no, I would say that, yeah, everything that I've spun so far, I mean, like literally, I wouldn't do this like to show off or whatever, but, like I could, for the most part, just like spin it like one-handed, it's so beautifully prepared that there's really, it's very effortless to spin it. So definitely if you're someone that's watching this tonight, if you are not a spinner yet, like if you're on the verge or you're thinking about maybe I want to give this a go, all of these preparations are super easy to draft. It's really a pleasure to spin, and you can tell that it's easy to draft, and you can tell that fiber is well prepared for in two ways, right? The first is that you're not seeing me stop and like pick stuff out. Okay, so like I can just keep spinning and I don't have to stop. And like there's no like second cuts, or there's no like little like pieces of hay, whatever. So that's one way. But also they're not like sticking where you're noticing an exaggeration of my hand pulling, right? Meaning like I'm not taking it and I'm kind of playing tug of war with the fiber to get it to pull apart. Like this fiber just, see, like, let me go. Like if I just go and I pull it apart, you can see just like how effortlessly it drafts apart. And that's how you can tell when fiber is really well prepared. So definitely both of these fibers, are a joy. So yeah, let me see if I can get this to come off. Now, when you blend it with the mohair, is there a reason that you chose to have like a higher mohair percentage? Is this like one of the yarns or the blends that you like to use for your blankets or for when you do your weaving?
I'm just kind of playing around with different blends. We send it off to a local mill, and she's really great. She's just great at helping me out with stuff. But so like we also got sheep recently because I just want to play with different blends and see how different things combine. So we have a couple breeds of sheep that aren't really fine wool sheep. So this year I want to see how adding the mohair and the alpaca to it softens up the wool and how it helps the memory of the alpaca. And with the mohair, I just think they're really, really soft together. Alpaca and mohair together, it's just so soft and silky that I just
yes.
Like
I'm trying. I really want to put some light on this so people can see the sheen that it has, and just how lustrous it is. Okay, let me switch back over.
Like trying out different blends of it, and something that's a little bit different because there's a lot of alpaca. Merino is usually a go-to because it is a fine wool, so you're not taking much of the softness out of the alpaca. Like I said, this year with the two breeds we have of sheep, I want to see if I can keep the softness in there, but then give it the memory and also kind of showcase because they're a little bit rarer breeds of sheep. So that's kind of my focus this year, is just interesting blends with the alpaca.
Yeah, no, I think and that's something that that experimentation and that playing and that trying to see, right, like what putting different fibers together does and how they perform together is a really fun thing to test out and to experiment with. And also from going through the spinning certificate, one of the things that they were teaching us and telling us about is that when you put fibers together to blend them, generally if you want to notice any kind of impact that the blend will have, that you want to have at least 20%. So like when you did the 80% mohair and the 20% alpaca, obviously the alpaca is going to then start to change the dynamic or the way that the yarn feels. But I have to tell you, Kathy, this is like, I don't even want to spin this. I just want to squish it. It's so soft. Like I know like you can see, on the camera, there's like a ball of fluff that I have in my hand, but it's literally like, I don't know. It feels like my cat's like belly fur that I just want to just, squish it. I don't even want to spin it. So how do you both part with the fiber when it's so much fun to spin it? Like how do you bring yourself to the point of knowing like which fleeces to even give away? Because this would be so hard for me. I'd be like, forget it. I'm just going to raise the animals and I'm going to keep all of it. I don't care if it piles up in a barn. I don't care.
Well, I know that I can make more. So
there you go.
I love the comments that I'm getting from people that spin our fiber. And when I hear all the great comments, then I know as an alpaca farmer, I'm on the right track. You know, they're getting the right food, they're getting the right, you know, stress-free life. And so my crop is what we call it, is on the right track. And that excites me.
Yeah, so I just
You know,
want to show people,
I'm-
yeah, like how lovely, you know, both of your fibers are, right? So like, I'm just going to take this piece here, right? It is so well prepared. I don't really even need, let me just get it started. I don't really even need, and again, I'm not like trying to do this to show off or be funny like that, but I just want to show you that I don't even need to draft with my left hand, that I can just go ahead and pull it, and look at that. It just, you see what I'm saying? This stuff is just such a joy to spin. So thank you so much for being generous enough and creating kits so that people can test out your fibers and sample these in 1 ounce increments. Because I think once you get a chance to try the different blends, then you can figure out like what works for you, what do you enjoy, and what do you you know, get and enjoy spinning, but also using too. So I think that's a great, wait, I didn't put enough twist in. It's hard to talk and look at the camera and spin at the same time. So usually I rely on what my fingers are doing to tell me if there's enough twist, but that time they weren't having very, what's the word? They weren't communicating effectively. All right, but yeah, no, these fibers are a real joy to spin, and I can't wait to show people all of the different ways that you can get your garments and your fabric when you whether you spin with alpaca or wool or silk, all of the different ways that you can infuse drape into the yarns that you spin, right? Because there are other things that you can do too. So definitely the fibers that you start with is important, but also it has to do with how the fiber is prepared and how you're drafting it, how dense you're making your yarn, right? So if it's going to be a compacted yarn or a light, loose, fluffy, airy yarn, and all of these factors are going to contribute to the type of garments and fabrics that you can make. And I will also be addressing for knitters and for spinners that do like woven fabric and crocheters, you know, so that you can really get a sense of how your yarn can behave and cooperate in different end uses. So let's see, I think I asked all of my questions of you. So do you have any questions for me, or is there anything else that you would like to let people know about your awesome animals, especially all the cutie patooties that are behind you, Kathy? I see them. Can we, oh, there's one looking right. He's looking at us. Or is that a girl? I can't tell. They're looking, they looked right at us.
That's the girls. Yeah, these are the girls behind me. It's a treat for them. We feed our lawn to them. And so they are in the backyard, and we just sit on our deck and watch them and talk to them and things. So they're actually in the backyard right now mowing the grass for us. So
that's awesome. I wish that you had, I know there's some people that will rent out their goats if you live like in the suburbs, and then they'll just kind of chew your lawn. So I think I need like an alpaca lawnmower.
There you go.
Okay, so someone was asking in the comment section, where do we go for the sampler pack? So on my website, I'm going to put for the people that are taking the workshop links. I believe I put up links right now. So it's in alanawilcox.com and then online workshops. And then under the spinning yarn with drape, they have links specifically to the kits that they said that they were going to put together. So I don't know if either of you have like a specific page or if it was only for, you know, workshop attendees, but I know that you can get both of their fibers through those links. So I can put that in the comments too. All right, so Alaura, do you have anything else that you would like to share with us about your animals or what you love about alpaca?
I just like the animals. Like I really do enjoy just going out and watching them, and they're very, it's funny because we have sheep and goats and alpacas and they're all just very different. If I want a lot of interaction and things jumping on me, I'm going to the goat pen. If I just kind of want to watch from a distance, I'm going to the alpaca pen because they might come up and sniff my face and see if I have a carrot or something. But in general, they're kind of just doing their thing.
Now, like what happens like if you raise them as a baby though, and they're more familiar with you? Are they still standoffish in that way, or does it just like depend on their individual personalities?
Mine are, I don't really have any bottle babies, but I do have a couple that have been born on the farm. But they just, I mean, they'll come up and they'll kind of look at me and whatever. If I'm doing something, they'll be a little bit nosy if I'm doing something different. But in general, they're more like cats to me. They'll come up if they want me, but most of the time they're fine if I'm in their area and they just do their thing. And
Yeah, like Kathy, that one behind you that keeps staring at us. Oh, look, see, like it looks at us and then it looks away like, nope, nope, I wasn't looking at you. How are
A
they
lot
for
of them
you?
want to know if I have grain, because they'll come up and they'll eat grain out of my hand.
Oh,
So
okay.
we use grain as an enticement. Here, we're gonna, we need you to get on the scale now. Here's some grain, and we're gonna give you a shot now. Here's some grain.
Is there like a certain like type of food or treat that they just really love that they'll become your best friend once you have it? Because I know with Glenn, my little curly cat, like that's the closest that I have to any kind of fiber bearing animal, that like if I give him a certain treat, then what he'll do is he'll come on my lap and he'll purr, and then he'll take his little paw and like put it on me, like he'll kind of like tap my hand like, hey, it's time for the treat. And then as soon as I give it to him, he leaves. So is there a certain treat like that they'll do whatever, they'll be your best friend, and then like as soon as you give it to them, poof, they're gone?
Well, with us, we do free farm tours. And so on the days of farm tours, we do it by appointment. We don't feed them their hay in the morning. And so by the time we have the farm tour, they're coming up and eating the hay out of people's hands that are coming to visit. So they really like that. Yeah.
Now, do they do any like tricks or anything, interesting like that? Because I know my other cat, when he's really hungry, he'll flop down on his back and he'll kind of play dead and make it look like no one has ever fed him in his whole entire life. So do they ever do anything cute? Like, do they turn their head sideways at you or make any faces when they're hungry like that? Like, please, I'm cute, feed me.
Mine don't.
No,
they just look at you. Yeah,
they do. How about yours, Alaura? Do they do any like are any of them like trained to do any kind of funny tricks, or have they trained you? Do they just know that when they see you that food's coming and you better feed them?
Yeah, mine don't do any. If I have carrots, there's a few of them that'll rush me for them. If I'm late for dinner, they'll hum at me sometimes. So that's not so much a trick as just bossing me around, I think. So
gotcha. That's their version of yelling at you, like you're not on time. We're on alpaca time and you're not.
Yeah, basically.
Oh man, that's awesome. I just love seeing them, and like that one just keeps looking at the camera, and then like as soon as I call it out for looking at the camera, it looks away. It's staring at us. Oh, see, it just all right. So I'm looking to see. Okay, so yeah, so I don't see any other questions or comments, but yeah, if you have any questions about the packs, I will put the link in the comments so that you can go ahead and check out the samplers if you'd like to check out their fiber and spin the alpaca if you ever have a chance to. And like I said, it's just a wonderful way of sampling and not only seeing how the fiber works individually by itself, but also what it contributes to the blends. And I love the mohair and the alpaca. This would be so awesome for socks. So I know there are some sock spinners out there, and this would just be so lovely for socks too. So thank you, both of you, so much. I really appreciate you being my guest tonight. And thank you, everybody that came out to the live tonight. I do appreciate it. And so if you are interested in learning more, what you can do both with alpaca and silk and all the other wonderful fibers that there are to spin and make them go into your garments and fabrics to make them have more drape and flow to them, please come and join me on Friday night. The workshop is going to be from 7 to 9 p.m. and you can go ahead and register on my website. It's at alanawilcox.com. So thank you again, everybody, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.